I believe that I'm not good enough and I'm a failure every day. It's a works-based mentality. And I keep reading the Bible verses where he's like, you're loved, you're good, you're righteous. I'm like, but I'm not. I prayed for God to draw me in. I was driving down the road with my kids, a freeway, and the lanes were merging. I didn't realize I was distracted. And I only noticed at the last second that I need to merge. And I merged almost hitting a semi-truck. And in my mind, my thought is, I missed my chance. That was my opportunity to end up in the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
It brought me to a point where the only way God would love me if I break down all the way.
What changed in your life after that?
It was a pivotal moment for me. That season, I think, was getting to know God for who he is based on his word. Those three things that really helped me grow. It's the season where I got to break off all of just the world stuff for a season and just focus on my relationship with him.
Welcome to Library of Lives. Yuliya, thank you for coming. I just appreciate that you are honest, and I know that you'll share your life and the journey from being a mom that just lived on autopilot, just get it through this day and just whatever. You didn't like the life. It was, I mean, I understand people are okay with it, but now looking back, you would look back at that life and you were like, whoa, I'm so happy I got out of it. And the journey from being a mom that's kind of bored at home and not sure what to do, what to go with life, even knowing that you have so much potential, you know, you are created for so much more, and just not even having a clue on how to make it happen. And now 10 years later, you sit here and I just see the beauty of the number of people you helped, and first with your life, and then your children, your husband, and then just hundreds of girls, maybe even thousands. Just knowing that you went through that journey, I just appreciate that you came here and that you will share. So welcome, and let's get to it. You know, our community, our church, not just church, but the girls in our city and so on. A lot of people, you know, invite you to retreats and things like this. And it doesn't come from nothing. It doesn't come from God just gave me this gift. It comes from pain. It comes from issues you've dealt with and relationship and issues you've dealt with your husband and your kids and other people and issues in your head and in your heart and all of this. Could you just take some time and maybe describe what you were before you liked yourself?
I mean, you just saying that makes me have tears in my eyes because I'm just like, I've been processing like where I've come from, how far I've gone, and it breaks my heart that I had to walk in brokenness for so long, and that it took that long for someone to come. Look at this, starting right away.
We have tissues.
But it took so long for someone to come into my life and help me and like point me to the truth. And that's where I'm like, man, for 25 years, I walked in, and if you think about it, like where I came from, like and the growth that I've had this year. I mean, these past few years, where I came from, let me rephrase this. Just thinking about where I came from and what I've overcome in myself and overcame through in life, it's not any more than other people. I'm saying that I'm a product of what God has done in my life, of what he's done is by grace through faith. That's who I am today, is by grace through faith. And I'm so thankful for that. So just thinking about that, just thinking about where I came from is just exciting to share.
Yeah.
But
could you just paint a picture and, without glorifying your past, but just paint a picture of what you were and where you landed.
So I think in what I like to say is that my life really started around 25. And that's what I'm saying about it. It's so sad that it took 25 years, right? And but I think before that, I lived in a place where I see myself as living in autopilot for a long time. I did the things that you're supposed to. You know, you get married, you have children, you go to church, you serve in church, you cook, you clean, and I think it was a lot of just survival mode. And survival mode looks like I had all this brokenness that everyone deals with, but I just didn't know how to cope with it. So I turned it off, and I just need to get through the day. I need to get through the year. I need to get through the season. Just get through it. I think that was my mentality, is you just bear down and you just get through it.
Where did it come from?
I think it's what I was taught. I think it's just a mentality that, life is hard, just do it. and you just buckle down and you don't complain, or you do complain and then, nothing. So I think it was a mentality that like, life is just hard. This is just the way it is. I think I even had this mentality where I saw people that were ahead of me that walked in freedom, that walked in just authority, walked in better sense of self, understanding who they are, walking in their calling. And for some reason, I was one of those people that thought like, oh, they're the chosen ones.
Mm-hmm.
They get picked. They got this life, and this is my place. So I'm an inferior class, I would say. So I lived in that for a while, I think. So there wasn't a thing where I could, the mentality was, when you talk about in India, they have classes, right?
Yeah.
You can't move from class to class. It's just the way the structure is. I think I had that same mindset where it's like, those were chosen, those were favored by God. And that's why they get to walk in that. But I am this class. I am the working class. I'm the helping class. I'm the lower class. So this is where I stay because I didn't know how to get out of it.
If you were to put your finger on, do you know where it came from? You're saying that's where you were taught. So like, that's your family, or were you like bullied or?
I don't think I was bullied in school to say that. I think it was more of mentality in my family and mentality in the church, where where it's more of like, you don't have nice things. You just work hard. Life is hard. You don't get what you want all the time. You just kind of deal with it. A mentality of like, you are saved through works, and which I never was able to attain. So I never felt assurance in salvation. Yes. I never felt assurance in my standing as a daughter in Christ. As a woman, even more so, like, who are you? You stay in your level, stay in your lane, do what you need to do. So I think it was a mixture of the two, of the sense of like, my parents had that mentality. You just do what you need to do, get through it. Life is hard. And then the church and the spiritual sense of like, you are broken and you are lost and you are a sinner, and keep that mentality for the rest of your life. And that was hard, I think.
You know what I just thought of? I mean, I'm tearing up too.
Mm-hmm.
If we were in the world and I was, what do you call those? You're in the chair and I'm the psychiatrist, or what am I? I would just say, we could blame the church.
Yeah.
Easily.
We could blame
I went
your
through
parents.
that season.
Your parents are at fault.
Yeah.
You weren't bullied, but that's great for you. But, we could blame the books you read or the movies you saw or something. But I'm just grateful to God that we don't blame. And blame is not part of Christianity.
If you just move, you'd be better off. No, it's not. It's not escaping.
It's not going to help.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things I realized going through inner healing in the past couple of years.
What is inner healing?
Inner healing to me it has a lot to do with mind renewal. It's about realizing where my views of whether it be authority, men, church, God, whatever, everything has been in a way, I've been programmed to view things in a certain way based on, how you grew up, what you were taught, your experiences. You view things based on how you were taught, like racism. That's something that's taught. That's not little kids play together without issues of what color. It's something that's taught. So same thing here. Like, I was taught a certain way. So inner healing was working through those things in me that were not aligned with the truth, that were not true, and it broke me. So breaking off mindsets that were not right, letting go, forgiveness, letting go of judgment. Those are all, I think, processes of inner healing in my mind. So I think it's a lot of mind renewal, and seeing where we got hurt and processing that. So that's what I did.
So let's back up. Say a couple of things that were wrong, your view on things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So let's see. Say where I was wrong in my mindset.
No, for example, I know this is something I've heard from other people, and you've said it before, that you've struggled with gossip. Like, you were attracted to it, and then there was a point where you hated it, right? And then how you got out of it. So let's say gossip is one example, but other things, like a lot of women struggle with how they look, for example, right? Was that part of your life as well?
Obviously. I'm a woman.
Obviously, why?
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman. Obviously,
yes. It's wow. Everyone. all the enemy's tactics are nothing new. They're the same through all the ages. I feel like if we all brought up our stuff and be like, oh, we're all dealing with the same thing. You know, if all of us women brought up our things, our insecurities, we'd be like, oh, he's doing it to
Very
all of us, and he's
similar,
making us feel the same, like that we're alone. I mean, in this issue, that's what the tactic he uses.
So let's do this.
One of the things that
Let's do this. Lay out 2, 3, 4 things.
Okay.
Right? Just show them where they are, and then show your journey, how you got out of it.
So you were saying that one of the things that you think that was an issue for me, this came to my mind. I learned about 2 different types of trauma. There's trauma A and trauma B. Trauma B is like when you get hurt, like when you know, someone in your family kept telling you, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you'll never attain the success that you want. Oh, you know, ты всегда, like, you always mess up. So whatever it is, like the trauma B is when something happens to you and it makes you feel broken, not good enough, not who you are in Christ, right? Trauma A is the absence of the good. So I may not have had trauma B where someone told me, you're ugly, you're not good enough, whatever. I had the absence of someone coming up to me and telling me, you're beautiful. You are worthy of love. You are special. I had that, I think, to a certain age. And I think I think there was a moment when even my father stopped saying those things to me. And whatever he was going through, he wasn't able to say that to me. But that's something I needed as a young girl, was someone to tell me, you're loved, you are worth valuing, you are special, you are called to this world, you have a special call in your life, you whatever it is, right? Like, I needed someone to tell me that, and I wasn't getting that. So that was one of my insecurity, came from not from being told I was not good. It was, I was at the neutral, but I couldn't get myself up, because I'm like, well, no one thinks I'm beautiful. No one thinks I'm worthy. And it's so funny because, I mean, I'm going to be talking about that. Like, one of my things is I didn't feel good. So anytime someone complimented me, the few compliments I would get, it would make me like rise up really high. Like, oh, this person thinks I'm beautiful. And I will do anything for that person because they spoke into what my heart was desiring so bad. And that's why I think a lot of girls, young girls, fall into the traps of being easily swayed into relationships or to doing things that they shouldn't do, is because that guy knows the words to say that my heart is just wanting to hear. Because I didn't hear that before. And so that's something that I was like, I had to work through in my mind, and I struggled with as a you know, when I was in youth. I'd be like, I would be the girl in the middle of all the guys, like, give me attention, tell me I'm needed, I'm wanted, I want to feel that. So that's something I had to go through. It was the absence of that.
You know, a side observation. I mean, it's not a side observation. Right now, as a dad, so if trauma A is what happens to me, then I, as a parent, need to protect. Trauma B is absence. I, as a parent, need to initiate. And I, as a parent, we often protect, provide.
Yeah.
But we forget about
to build up. So we're keeping from the negative, but we're also not building them up. And that's where I'm seeing that I lacked that.
And that's such a lesson for me. Thank you.
Started with Yulia, because now I have so much that I'm remembering.
You helped me so much. This is good.
Because I can relate to the dad thing.
Yeah, right? And so I think, like, it was just funny because, can I just share this testimony?
Of course.
My daughter, I was watching her interact with the youth. So the youth was hanging out, and there was... On this side, it was the older youth, and there was a bunch of guys and one girl talking amidst the guys. And then on the other side, there was a bunch of the younger youth, and my oldest daughter was hanging out with them. And I was like, that's weird, because her friend is over there. And why isn't she there? Because I know if I was that age, who I was at 15 years old, I would be the one amidst the guys. And I was like, I wonder why she's not there. So she got in the car, and I was like, okay, Bella, like, why weren't you hanging out? Like, why were you hanging out with them and not with them? She's like, I like them. I like that girl. She's my friend. But she goes, I didn't want to be there because it was just, you know, she just wanted to be around the guys. And that's all she wants to do. And I was like, interesting. I know why she's around the guys. I would have been that, right? So I wanted to ask her, I'm like, why don't you see yourself being the one there? Like, why aren't you also wanting that? And my daughter, amazing wisdom from the Lord. Again, she has my husband's mind in that, where she like processes things from the side, and she comes to conclusions, and she analyzes way above her age. And she's like, you know, I feel like it's because I feel such a stability with you and Dad at home.
That's very
I feel
wise.
so loved that I don't need their attention.
Wow. Yeah.
Very wise.
That
How old
was
was she?
14.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
incredible.
this is took me like 25 to
Yeah.
realize this, right? Why I acted this way.
No,
But it was that
the reality
security.
is that she went there because you went through the journey.
But it's not just me, because it was my husband. Because I could tell my daughter she's beautiful all I want. My mom told me
Yes.
I'm good.
Yes.
But I needed my father.
Mm-hmm.
I needed my father to tell me that he loved me and that I'm beautiful. And I didn't get that.
Others hear that?
Oh, 100%. And so, and she told me, because she didn't, at any point in that conversation, she never said anything about me.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time she said, Daddy will tell me I'm beautiful and that he loves me every day.
Mm-hmm.
And she even said this, she goes, sometimes you'll say it like 6 times. Isabella, you're beautiful. I know, Papa. Isabella, you're beautiful. I know. Isabella, you're beautiful. Isabella, you're beautiful. And she said, sometimes it takes the 3rd or the 5th time for it to land from my mind to my heart. And that's when I actually accept it. It's like this thing where, I don't know if you ever heard, like, something needs to be said a couple times for it to like land. And that's what she said, it helped her. So it's not even my words. I compliment my kids all the time. But for my girls, they need their father. And that's what he did so much. So my girls are walking in a different headspace just because they have such an amazing, loving father, and that hugs them every day and, talks to them.
I think you kind of don't give your credit in this, because by you keep telling them, you're building a foundation.
It does,
it is
though,
both.
for sure.
It is
For
both.
sure.
Yeah.
I think in the aspect of the emotional, like, sense of who you are, for my son, I have a really important role for my son that my husband cannot fill.
Yeah.
And I do that, and then he fills in. He does his aspect, and this aspect, I think there's something that God created where a young woman, any age, needs to have a man tell her that she's beautiful and that she's loved.
So in your life, basically, your dad wasn't doing this.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things. What other things that you had to work through, or
So like I said, I lived through autopilot. I felt like I lived in autopilot for 25 years. And it was a point where I think when we moved to Florida, when I felt like I needed this was a new chance at life for me. I was like, okay, things need to be different. And so I started asking God and started going to God. First of all, going to God, like, what's going on? Why am I so broken? What's wrong with me? And I think through those first few years, I hit even more of a rock bottom, because I said autopilot means you don't look into yourself. You don't want to deal with it. It's too scary. It hurts too much. You want to avoid it. You just don't want to deal with it. So it was a season when I went into like, what is going on here? Yuliya, what is happening in your heart? So I went into asking myself, like, where am I? Who am I? And I saw all the brokenness, and I saw all the, so I'm talking about spirit, soul, and body. Like, in my spirit, I just felt like I'm such a baby in Christ. I mean, I know nothing about God. I have such a wrong view of God. Not that I knew I had a wrong view. I just knew that all I knew is I just keep failing him. On a daily basis, I just keep failing God. I judged people. I gossiped. I would go through the cycles where I'm good. I go to the conference. I'm great. And then I fall down again. And that cycle just wore me out. I was like, there has to be more than this. I can't have high highs and low lows over and over again through the cycle. And just that works mentality. I just felt like I just was not doing enough, and it was never enough. So spirit, soul, I felt like I was a bad mom. I felt like I was a failure as a wife. I felt like, I remember like one time I was driving from a Bible study meeting, and I had to pull over because I'm just like, the condemnation was just overwhelming. And I sat down and I just started writing down all my thoughts. And I'm like, you're a terrible mother. You fail. You can't keep up with this. You're, blah, blah. You're not good looking. And I just wrote out everything that I felt. And it was just a whole page of condemnation. And it was just like, it was just, it seemed like everything in my mind was all negative. And I'm just failed at everything. And so in my soul, I just felt like, how can I get out of this? It just seems too broken. And then in my body too, I felt like, I just had my 4th child when I moved here. and I'm looking at everyone, and I come from a smaller church, and I come to Living Stream, and everyone's in a different level to me, right? And I'm like, I feel so inferior. I feel like my house is not enough, my car is not enough, how I look is not enough. And in all ways, I felt like I needed to cover up. And I never wore makeup before. And I came here, I'm like, I need to start wearing makeup. Because and it's so funny because my husband would ask me, like, why are you wearing makeup? And I was like, he's like, is it for like male attention? Like, he's asking me truthfully, like, why do women wear makeup? And I was like, no, like, truthfully, if I ask myself why I'm doing this to keep up with the other girls. I won't wear makeup around anybody else, but if I'm going to meet the girls out for coffee or Bible study, or there's a birthday party in a restaurant, I felt like I needed to present a different form of me. And so I would try to like make myself look prettier. And I felt like a failure because I wasn't as pretty. I didn't have the hair. I didn't have this. And I think my husband actually challenged me on this. He was like, why don't you just like ask yourself, why do you need this? And I was like, because I feel not good enough. And so then I actually went on a year thing where I made a promise I'm not going to put on makeup, because I felt every time we would take a picture with the friends, like a friend group, right? And everyone is just gorgeous. And then there's me with not makeup. And I look at this picture and be like, why do they post it on Instagram? It's just, why do they have to like, and I think it was a season where I had to work through my worth. Because I felt my worth. I only felt good enough about me when I had me put together. It's not to say that it's bad to wear makeup. No, I only felt good about myself when I felt put together. My looks, my outfit, and my life seemed somewhat in order through control. Then I felt I was doing good. And so there was a season when God called me to that, to let go of that, to process how I see myself, not relying on something. And then at that point, and then afterwards, I mean, now to this day, I'm like, I don't want to. And I could. Sometimes I do for a wedding, whatever, but I'm like, I don't need it anymore. I feel beautiful the way I am. And I'm so thankful that I got to be there. But I don't judge people who do. I think it's beautiful. Yeah. And now I don't go and be like, compare myself. Well, they look gorgeous and I look this way. I'm like, this is who I am. And so this is a process but the spirit, the soul, and the body, I think that season, I just saw myself so broken. And I remember saying, God, like, gosh, where are you going to begin, Lord? You have so much work to do. This is going to take ages for you to work on me. Because I remember sitting in Bible study with these women, and they're like, interpreting scripture to me, and they're like reading this stuff, and they're talking about Revelations, and she's memorizing Bible verses. And I'm like, I just made it here. And I did my hair, and there's, I brought a snack. I brought something to the table, and I felt like I was contributing. I was like, God. And I remember even saying to God, I was like, if you would just download all of this revelations to me, you're God. Like, you could just breathe that into me, and I would know all these things, right? Like, why don't you just do that? There's just so much work. God is going to take you forever. And now I think back and I look at my life, and I'm like, man, these past 10 years, because it's been 10 years now since we moved to Florida. And I'm like, it has been that beautiful process. And it was me, like, we're talking about like humans take time, things take time in our hearts. And it was him working on one thing at a time. And it was deep and it was long, but it's so worth it. I look back 10 years, I'm like, oh, wow, I've come a long way. From who I was back then. Very insecure, very broken, very inferiority mindset, timidness, and the process that God has been taking me. So I think it was really important for me to like go through the things one by one, because it helped me also, I think, relate to people and to be able to see that in people. Like, I relate to people that are broken because I came from such brokenness, and I see them and I'm like, oh, you don't have to be there. I was there. I know. And so me processing those things, I think, were really important for me.
I'm just thinking, if you work through this in your strength, like you put on the face with makeup and all this, or you achieved something and all that, you would, and you have the heart to teach, to show people the way and so on, right? You would be showing them pride.
Yeah.
You would be showing them self-achievement. You would be showing them, and our job is to point to Christ, point to Jesus. And you know how God says, "I won't give the glory to anybody." You know, I've struggled with that phrase for some time, like selfish and all this. Why, God, are you doing this? But in reality, is we can't handle it as one. You know, we right away become rotten and full
Yeah.
of ourselves,
Yeah.
and so on and so on. But when you have this journey, and then you point to people, look, I was there, but I'm not the one that did it. And all of a sudden, this woman or a guy says, there's hope, because I know I'm not strong. I've seen myself,
Yep.
but I can just come to Jesus.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I like this. I
Yeah.
like this.
I think the second year I was here, I got to go to IDT, and again, there's a couple things that really helped switch gears for me, and one of it was like renewing my not renewing, resetting who I thought God was. Like I've known of God all my life, I've heard about Him all my life, but I needed to get to know Him for myself.
I went through this time where I would read the Bible. I mean, I read the Bible throughout the year and
Yeah,
so on,
yeah.
right? And I remember, especially Old Testament, when you read it, you're like, God, you're such a strange God to allow this and this and this and this. And instead of accepting God, I would question God, right? And for me, the reset of God, I like how you put it, the reset of my view of God was this. I read the Bible without questioning who He was. So if I read a passage, if I read a story, if I read this, I'm like, okay, God, so this is how you are. Would you explain to me why you did this? And not in a questioning, condemning way, because we can condemn God,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I would ask Him, would you explain why? Why did this happen? And so on. When I read the Bible that way, all of a sudden I saw God for who He was, you know?
Yeah.
So this reset of the view of God, how did this reset happen for you? I mean, this was how it happened in my life.
When I got the opportunity to go to Bible college, I got to go for 4 months through IDT and SMES, and I went into that season, and it's so interesting. Like, one of the things that really helped me were people speaking into my life. And it was a season when Matt McCluskey actually messaged me before I even went into Bible college. He messaged me on Facebook. He said, I feel like this is going to be a season where you're going to be resting on His chest. Like, it's going to be a season of rest. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know what that means.
You have
I've
4
never
kids at the time, too.
experienced that. Yeah. But also, like, I've never experienced that because I've only just started to learn about God in a different way. I saw Him very much as a God who punishes, as a God who wants righteousness, who demands righteousness in my works and in my thoughts and in everything. And I need to keep up with it. And I just knew that I was a failure. So when He was saying I get to rest on Him, I'm like, I'm not even worthy, you know? And so I came in, but I made this decision. I was like, I've known of God all my life. I've heard about Him all my life through people, of how they teach Him, what they experienced, and how they perceive or how they interpret their experience. That's all I know of God. And so and here's an example. One of the biggest views I had of God was, if I would draw closer to Him, if I asked God, I'm going to come, and I did this, I think 2 years before we moved to Florida, that's 2013, I got down and I prayed. I said, God, like, I am so no longer, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm no longer okay with the Christianity I see right now around me, in me. It was so shallow. Like, you go to church, you serve, you do your thing, but then you come home and you gossip and you cook and you clean and you get with your friends and you talk about this. And then in 5 years, like, well, she got a new house. Well, I need a new house. Well, she got a new car. Well, I need a new car. I just need to keep up with the Joneses. And so, like, I didn't want that Christianity anymore. So I said, God, I don't want this fake thing. And there was a lot of situations that came that brought religious church to a point where I saw that it was no longer a relationship thing. This was a very religious kind of stuff. There was a lot of things that happened where I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this club. That's what it was. It felt like a club to me. And so I was like, I don't want this. If you're real, I want to go all in. If you really go back to it, there was a season where I stopped believing in God, where I was like, all of this is fake. We're all just playing church. We're all playing club. It's all fake. And then it was through Him, like, speaking to me. It was funny because I was still teaching Sunday school. I had the teenagers, and I was teaching them every Sunday, every
How
other
to
Sunday.
believe in God.
And I'm teaching them Bible lessons, but I didn't believe anything I said. I was just teaching them. And then we went to a conference in Atlanta for teenagers, and they were showing this video about cells and how all the cells in the body work and how everything works together. And it's just so magnificent. And I'm looking at them like, this is the stupidest thing. Like, how are they trying to get through teens through this video?
Yeah.
But I was watching it more, and they were explaining more. And I was like, wow, like God did create the body. And so I, as the leader of the teens, was in the lobby. They had like a table where they had little booklets of like, are you really there, God? Are you really real? I'm the one that was getting those pamphlets, sticking them into my purse. And I came home, and I was like, and I was reading through them. And I remember I was in the bathroom, and I was praying. And I was like, God, I could see that you're real, but I don't know who you are. I just need you to show me that you're real. I need to see proof. And I think it wasn't the one thing that happened. It wasn't like a one-time situation in that season. I call it my Jacob season, where I wrestled with God. I was like, who are you? This is not a God I want to serve. This is the God of my parents is who I'm serving. And that season when I struggled with him, when I told him I don't believe in him, I don't believe in the system, I don't believe in church, and this is all, I was just so hurt by how things turned out in my past church that I was like, I don't want this. So it was a season where I was struggling with the Lord, and then he started showing up in ways I was like, that was not a coincidence. Like how there was like a prayer or something would happen, or I'd read something, I'd just open the Bible and he would speak to my heart. I'm like, well, that was weird. That was like, that never happens to me. So I was like, wait, you're real. So when I was like, okay, if you're real, I think it was like a year into that. And I was like, if you're real, 2013, I prayed. I was like, if you're real, I want to go all in. If I'm doing this, I want a deep relationship with you. So going back, the lie was, in my mind, the lie that I was taught inadvertently, I don't think it was like something that was pushed, I think it was subconsciously, is that if you're drawing close to God, he will do it through punishing you, through bringing you to your knees to the point where you have nothing. And then he's gonna come and encounter you, and then you're gonna be like, so in my mind, I was like, okay, I pray to God, bring me closer to you. And I'm like sitting back. I'm like, okay,
waiting for it to happen.
I'm about to have a car accident. My husband's going to cheat on me, or my child is going to be born with a sickness and is going to make me sit in the hospital for months. And that's when I'm going to cry out to the Lord. And that's when he's going to respond. And that's when I will reach that level of Christianity. I felt like it had to be through tribulation. And I was so funny because I shared that with my mom years later. And she's like, where did you get that idea from? And I was like, Mom, every time something would happen bad, everyone in church would be like, oh, you see, like someone would get in a car accident on a motorcycle.
God is speaking to you.
God is drawing him in. And then it would be like something else would happen, a divorce, like there's a divorce happening. I see, God's telling them to humble them. Like, so it's always a thing of like something happened, like, oh, that means God is drawing you in. I prayed for God to draw me in. The only way I knew of God drawing people in was through tribulation. So I remember I was driving down the road with my kids, a freeway, and the lanes were merging, and I didn't realize I was distracted. And I only noticed at the last second that I need to merge. The side things were there, and I merged, almost hitting a semi-truck. Like I was just boom. And in my mind, my thought is, I missed my chance.
Oh my goodness.
Like that's where my mind was like, that was my opportunity to end up in the hospital and get down to my knee. Like that's what religion did to me. It brought me to a point where the only way God would love me if I break down all the way. So when I went into that season of IDT, I said, I want to know God for who he is, not based on what people have taught me, whatever. And that was a season where he had to prove to me, not had to, but he took the time to prove to me that he is faithful and true. And this is how it went with me. I believe that I'm not good enough and I'm a failure every day. It's a works-based mentality. And I keep reading the Bible verses where he's like, you know, you're loved, you're good, you're righteous. I'm like, but I'm not because I yelled at my kids. Well, I'm not because I cheated on this. I'm not because, and I think it was for like 2.5 months. Every day he would tell me, but my mercies are new every morning. And I'd be like, I know, okay, but like I did it again. And so I'd come back to him the second day. I messed up. I failed in this and I didn't do this. And he's like, and my mercies are new every morning and I still love you. Yeah. And then I would come to him the other day. I messed up again. I did the same thing as I did yesterday. And he's like, and my mercies are new for you every morning. And I'm like, it got to a point where a month later, I kept telling him how bad I am and how much of a failure I am and how unworthy I am. And he would just always keep coming back. Huh? I love you and my mercies renew every morning, start again. And I got to a point where I'm like, can't you see how messed up I am, God? Like, are you living in this, like, don't you see who I am? And he's like, and I love you. And my mercies renew every morning, start again. And I think that's what broke me, was his love. Like, it wasn't the fear. It wasn't the religiousness, the disciplines, the praying every morning. I was doing all that. It was all out of like, I'm checking it off. I'm being a good Christian girl. It was him winning me over with his patience and his love and his mercy. To me, I got to a point where I'm like, I can't win. I can't fight you. Like, we could keep doing this forever and you're always going to tell me you love me and your mercies renew every morning. He's like, yeah, every day. I'm like, wow, that's good. He's like, yeah. And that's when the phrase to me, God, you're good. Like, I'm like, God, you're good. You're a good God. You're such a good God. You're good. And so when I started reading the Bible through that lens, I was like, he's good. So even verses before where they felt like condemnation because I felt like I was not good enough. Now then the my mind shift happened where I'm reading that same Bible verse. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like, he's good. I'm okay. I'm still like loved by him. And so
you believe it actually.
And I actually believed it because he proved to me that he was faithful to his promises. He told me he loved me unconditionally. He proved it to me.
This reminded me of my breaking point.
Oh, good. Good.
Can I share?
You want to share? No.
Yeah,
if that's
please,
okay. I don't want to take your time,
no.
but I remember this was already after I had already been leading Bible studies, after I did all the things God told me to do, and I still felt like I wasn't enough. I was still struggling with that, like, self-worth, earning, just kind of that religious mindset that I'm just not good enough. And I went to a retreat. I did not want to go to this retreat. I don't know how I ended up at this retreat. There was a hurricane and it got canceled, but I still got picked up by some girls and they took me to this retreat. That it was just interesting. And I was driving to this retreat and I'm like, I know I need to go there because God needs to fix me, because he's going to reprimand me. He's going to tell me how I have to do A, B, and C. And here's where I fall short. I get to this retreat, it starts. And one night we have a prayer and I'm praying. And I experienced the Holy Spirit, the Lord talking to me in a very real way. And instead of reprimanding me, he says, I'm so proud of you, my girl, like my daughter. He spoke to me like a child. Like he's like, I love you and I'm so proud of you. And I was just broken by that moment. And I just expected to be corrected. Because I've been corrected. And I was seeing God through the lens of like, he needs to correct me and fix me because I'm broken. And in that moment, he just loved me. And that moment was a huge shift for me and a huge turning point, because I now wasn't trying to earn his love. I knew I had his love, and it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with how good or how bad I am, but everything to do with who he is. And from then, that was a healing moment for me, for sure.
What changed in your life after that? And I know this, I mean, this sounds like it was a specific.
It was a pivotal moment for me. That season, I think, was getting to know God for who he is based on his word, and just different teaching. I think I started listening to different teachers. And there's three things that really affected me. If I really go back to it, there's three things that really helped me grow. It was my IDT season, a season where, and it's not the program itself, it's the season where I got to break off all of just the world stuff for a season and just focus on my relationship with him. It was a season where I got to spend extra time in the word. I had different teachers come in and speaking different truths that challenged what I thought of God. And so that season really helped me. And then the second thing was community, which was, for me, was a Bible study group that we met every 2 weeks. And they also, the same thing, they challenged me of what I believe. They would walk in a few steps ahead of me where I'm like, I want to be like that too. I should be memorizing scripture. Or I want those kind of revelations when I'm reading this book, or even the seasons where, like I said, I had to break down first. I had to see where I was, and it was really broken. I remember there was like 5 months when I would come to the Bible studies every 2 weeks. I would force myself to go. I don't want to go. I feel like a failure. Even though I know this now, but on a soul level, I still felt like a failure. I felt like I should be stepping up more, doing this, but I just didn't know how. And so literally I would come to Bible studies and I would just cry for 45 minutes. We would have worship for the first 45 minutes and then we'd do Bible study. I would come and I would just cry for 45 minutes and then I would listen to them. I would barely participate. I'd go home. And then I'd come back 2 weeks later, force myself to come back. Again, just cry. And those women, I'm so thankful for them. They just went around me. And in a time when all I wanted to do was isolate myself, in a time when all I wanted to do was just hide and stew in my pity and stew in my brokenness and my, again, this is a long process. It's not a one-time thing.
What gave you the strength to force yourself to go?
I feel like I knew intrinsically, like I felt like I knew inside of me that if I stayed home, I would stay in this place. The
So
enemy
you wanted
just,
to get out.
I wanted to get out.
So because you saw God?
Because I knew there's hope. I knew there's something can change. Whereas before, maybe a couple of years ago, it would have been like, this is just who I am. I just knew that, like someone asked me this when I went to IDT, they're like, how can you share your life with people? Like, because, like students come from around the nation and they come and they tell me their life story and then they leave. And no one knows them here, right?
Yeah,
I don't know them. I don't know their family. So there's nothing. But me, I lived here. So I'm sharing with the woman that goes to my church. I'm sharing with the leaders that go to my church. And I'm like, they're like, how could you share your story with them? And I got to a point in my life where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired of spiritually. I think I got to a point where I was like, I just don't want to be here anymore. This is I don't want to be this broken anymore. So I went through the IDT season that helped, but then going to the Bible study groups was like, I went through a different facet of that. And I was just like, all I wanted to do was stay home and hide. And I just knew that if I stay here, I'll stay here much longer. And so I forced myself to go. The enemy will want you to hide in those areas. He wants to isolate you so that he could play the same mindsets, the same mind games on you, where it's like, well, you're just a failure. See, it didn't work. You tried. You went to Bible college. You're doing Bible study. What do you know? You're still in the same cycle. You're still broken. You're still yelling at your kids. You're still doing this. You're still not good enough. And he just wanted me. And that's what he does to anyone. And that's why I say anytime you want to isolate from people, unless it's God telling you to isolate for like a season to like you're spending time in prayer and fasting, whatever, that's one thing. But anytime you want to hide from people, I say run the other way. You need to run to community because you need a sounding board. Be like, I'm feeling like this. They're like, that's not right.
Yeah.
That is not right. You're right. Like, I should not be thinking this way. And just being around people that were in a few steps ahead of me and that would just talk about hope. And I'm just sitting there and I'm not participating and I'm just listening. But it would just help bring like nuggets where I'm like, walk away with like, oh, I remember that. I remember that feeling about God. I remember he told me this. I remember he promised me this. So it would just reignite little by little, but it kept me going until like I had to, again, go through a surrender season and stuff. So IDT, Bible college, a season where I spent time with the Lord, my community. And the third one was my a mentor, just a mentor. There's a few specific mentors that really impacted me. And I think that's important on a different level because mentors, like when you have a Bible study group, it's like, it's on everyone basis. Like it's the standard where everybody is. When I met with a person one-on-one, I was able to get down to the soul level, to like the root of my problem and talk it out, hash it out. And that's what these people showed me. These mentors that I've had through my lives, people would come into my life in different seasons. And first mentor was I was sitting in Panera Bread with Nelia. And I was like, I feel like I don't measure up to everyone here. I don't have the house. I don't have the car. I don't have the looks. I don't have like my family doesn't look this way. Like, how am I supposed to fit in? And she would just share her life and she would just give me hope. And she'd be like, and then she, just meeting with her. And then with her, I remember the verse that really stood out to me that she taught me was there's no more condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Like, and that to me, when she explained that to me, I was like, wait, what? I don't live in condemnation anymore. Like, I'm no longer condemned. The law of sin and death no longer applies to me. It's not a works like that, like blew my mind. And that was a person that met with me at my level. So the three things that really changed me: community, that season in Bible college and mentors are really important in my life.
One thing, I mean, I love what you're saying, but
Yeah.
this thing stuck out so much.
Okay.
The isolation, when we run from whatever it is, that's isolation, and that's to the opposite. When we run to God, it's still alone, but it's not from, it's to.
Yeah.
That's when it's healthy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So our school director, Jack Wilcox, that passed away, a year before he died, he shared this with our school, and I really love this analogy. He said there's cows and then there's buffaloes. I don't know if you heard this before. So cows, when they see a storm coming, they run away from it. And then buffaloes, they run towards the storm. And he says the difference is cows will run away, but the storm will still catch up with them, and it will go on with them with a longer duration of time before it passes them. So they end up in the storm much longer than they're even supposed to be. The storm is not that long. But buffaloes, they go into the storm. That means they're going opposite direction of the storm. So the storm happens. You still have to deal with the thing. You don't avoid it. It's not like going at it. Like, you still have to deal with the hurt, the pain, whatever it is. But going at it, and I think that's what the Lord is like. Going at it, be like, Lord, I'm stuck in this. Help me. It passes by so much faster. So I feel like the season that I was in, it could have been a year-long season. It could have been a year and a half where I was been in the same place spiritually, emotionally, if I didn't go head on against it. Like, I'm just sick and tired of this cycle in my life, and I want to break this in my life.
If you didn't get sick and tired of it, would you just keep going that way?
I feel like it would have taken me longer. I don't know. Like, if I didn't, I wouldn't have gone at it with much more, like, if I hid behind a pretense of I'm fine, I would not have uncovered the things that I needed to uncover in my life. And I feel like a lot of the inner healing that I've done, a lot of the mindsets that have been broken because I've been dealing with it, those things that my life wasn't bad in the past 5 years, but I'm still going through inner healing. But those things held me back from walking out bigger, better things in my life. Seeing promises of God come to pass, I could hold them back by my unbelief, by my disobedience, by my wrong view of myself. Like, people ask me to speak. Who would ask Yuliya Degtyareva to speak? Who is she? Like, she's a nobody. Why would anyone ask me to speak? I'm not good. My mouth is crooked when I talk. Like, all the things. Like, literally, I'm telling you, I watch videos of myself. I'm like, what is this? What is going on? Why would they ask me to speak? And those are the things that would hold me back if I wasn't like, no, this is not true. I need to deal with this. I need to process this. It's, like, okay, my mouth is crooked. So what? Like,
I never noticed. I'm trying to find it now.
I call it the lawyer in you. They're so good.
So true.
He's so good at convincing you, and I'm like, well, I just don't look good in pictures. I don't look good in this, so I'm not articulate like Marina. So who am I to go up in front of people and teach a hearing God's voice class? Who am I? And so the mindsets that I have on me that the enemy brings along, if I don't deal with them, it would hold me back from walking out what I needed to do. And I just
you share better stories than
I
we
think
have our strengths.
Yeah, we all have our strengths. I just realized that I was like, I not realized. I came to accept that I'm his favorite and that I'm loved by him. That's just something that changed in me. I think that really like spurred things. I'm his favorite, and he has a special calling on me.
Okay, I'll challenge this.
Okay.
How can you be favored? There's 8.5 billion people. I know.
And it's not a...
Are you lying to yourself?
No. I don't know. I don't know. To me, I see like, you know how I've seen families where they have a favorite child. And they act with them a different way. And I'm not saying that's how God acts. I'm saying that I've come to believe that he loves me that much. It's not to say that I'm better than anyone else. You could say you're his favorite too. That's the cool thing about it. That's what I think.
There's enough God for all of us.
He's that. How does he know? How does he with 8 point something million people in this world right now, and billion people, How does he know every detail or every hair on their head? He knows who to connect with who and when and what season. How does he do all that? If I can't even grasp that. So for me, I'm like, if he could do all that, if he could send the people into my life, mentors in my life at different seasons, words that were spoken, encounters that changed my perspective of who God was, if he has the time to sit there and think of that, I'm pretty darn loved.
Yeah.
And so that's all I could say. It's nothing of me. It's by grace through faith. I have earned none of it.
Yeah.
None of it. I am nobody. I'm a Yuliya Degtyareva from Asheville, North Carolina, and I was a broken individual, and I was lost, and I was hurting, and I was hurting my kids with my hurt, and I was hurting people around me with my hurt. Yeah. But because of the mercy of God, by grace through faith, I had to believe. By grace through faith, I am where I am today. Mm-hmm. And one of the way I see myself now, if it's okay if I go here.
Of course.
I was processing this. I was like, because some people would say like, oh, Yuliya thinks it was a rumor somewhere that I started a church. And I was like, nice. Wait, what? Like, so I was like, what is it? And so I was like, well, who am I? How do I see myself in the kingdom? And this is the picture that God showed me. When flowers are given to somebody, they're always in a vessel. And I'm that vessel. I am that flower vase. Mm-hmm. And here's the cool thing about it. The vase could be intricate vase out of crystal, or it could be a wooden box or a plastic box.
A shoe.
It doesn't matter how it was given as much as the flowers in it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like God does things through me. He does the things. Like he brings the words of wisdom. He brings the healing. He brings the restoration. Those are the flowers. That's what people remember.
Yeah.
They remember what they got from me, but they don't remember the vases. The vase is just, they put on a shelf.
It's very true.
We all have a cabinet of vases or something in our, our home. I am just that vessel, and he gets to put different flowers. Sometimes it's a very big thing where I get to speak to teenagers, and that's great. It's so cool. Sometimes it's just one-on-one, but I'm just that vase, and I'm just that plastic box, and he could use me in whatever way he wants. I just get to be a part of the journey. I just get to be a messenger. There's a phrase that I read once that really stood out to me. In Colossians where it says, Christ in you, the hope of glory. Mm-hmm. And then I don't remember who it was, but they said this statement. They said, Christ in you is the hope of glory. Christ through you is a manifestation of glory. Mm. And I'm like, I want to be that through you.
Yeah.
I'm that vase. I'm that plastic box. Christ through me is a hope of glory. People get to see the hope of God, of the healing, of the restoration. And I'm just the box that gets to carry it. And I'm so thankful because I received it for myself. I received so many gifts from the Lord through different people speaking into me that said things. I believe in you, Yuliya. You could do this. I'm like, are you kidding me? I believe in you. You could do this. You have a voice. I'm like, but my aunt told me 10 years ago that I'm a woman. I should not speak. And he's like, but no, you're called to do this. And so my husband speaking into me, people speaking into me, those are all vases where God spoke into my identity. And I'm like, okay, I am his favorite. Yeah. I'm so loved. Mm-hmm. But he also has room for everybody else, as long as you, by faith, through grace, receive it. That's where I stand on that.
Mm-hmm. No, unfavored. If it's only favored if it's not 100% love to everybody. You know what I mean? So if it's 50% to that one, 50% to that one.
You're thinking through the worldview. I think God has 100%.
But that's what I'm saying. If I have a handful to share, then the favorite will get the most. Mm-hmm. But because God is 100%, he just gives 100% to everybody. So that word favorite doesn't apply in the world.
In the worldview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are 100% loved with the perfectest love that's possible.
Yeah.
Thank you for this journey. I think you showed kind of from bottom to where God got you. Mm-hmm. I would love to talk about your journey from being healed to healing others.
Okay.
But I think there's a time constraint, and I think that's something we could do another time actually, if it works. We got to think about it. Okay. I think that could work because the journey from being healed to starting to help people, to making the first steps.
Yeah.
Like to overcoming what I just shared. Is it true or not? was that from God or not? You know, like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of. I think all these questions would be really good to maybe talk another time.
Okay,
So thank you
cool.
very much. I mean, you made me cry. I mean, I got a tissue here. That's all. Like, so thank you,
Yeah.
and God bless.